morning and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT for short. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. We're here live in this beautiful studio here at Miami's Community Newspapers, and of course, we want to thank them for being such great partners in hosting and producing the program. So, as we've discussed various times in previous episodes, that half-penny sales tax goes towards the county to expand transit, but 20% of it is spread amongst our 34 municipalities here in Miami-Dade County on a per-population basis. And so, we love to have municipal guests on the program to talk about what each of our cities, towns, villages are doing with their share of the half penny. So I'm very happy to announce that we have a wonderful guest today representing North Bay Village. You are the mayor of North Bay Village, going on how many years now?
It's about 6 months.
About 6 months, but
Yeah.
those 6 months I'm sure feel like 6 years in many ways. So welcome to the program, Madam Mayor. This is, by the way, I should announce her name, Mayor Rachel Streitfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did I get that right?
Streitfeld is close.
The other way around. So I apologize. I knew I was going to get it wrong.
You're fine. I like
So,
to say
welcome.
to people Streisand and Seinfeld. Streisand
I love that.
and Streitfeld. Yeah.
That would be an amazing couple too, by the way. Very talented.
Very talented.
No relation?
No,
I don't want.
no, unfortunately. No.
Excellent. So tell us about North Bay Village. It's one of our smaller municipalities here in Miami-Dade County, at least geographically, by population.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think people would be surprised how many residents you have, given the density.
Yeah, we have about 8,500 residents according to the latest census. North Bay Village is located in the heart of Biscayne Bay. We're in the North Bay. We are 3 small islands located in between the city of Miami, kind of like the Upper East Side area, and the city of Miami Beach, North Beach. When you are coming across the John F. Kennedy Causeway, you are driving through North Bay Village. The community is celebrating its 80th birthday this year, so happy birthday,
Congratulations.
NBV. Thank you. We were dredged out of the bottom of Biscayne Bay, right? It's 3 man-made islands. Actually, there's one naturally occurring island that predated the inception of the city, and that is known as Broadcast Key. It is where the Channel 7 station is today. So that was an actual naturally occurring island. And in the 1940s, submerged land was purchased by some interesting characters, and they dredged and filled the 3 islands that make up North Bay Village today. It's North Bay Island, which is a gated community. It's exclusively single-family homes. There is Harbor Island, which is almost exclusively, multifamily. Zoning there is like 70 units per acre. And then we have Treasure Island, which is our core, where we have our municipal uses, our institutional uses, our commercial corridor is there on Treasure Island. We also have single family and multifamily, so it's the most diverse uses on Treasure Island.
That's a lot packed into a very small space.
It's a lot packed into a very small space, yeah. And you can walk from one corner of North Bay Village to the opposite corner in probably 45 minutes if you wanted to.
And how many years have you lived there?
I've lived in North Bay Village since August of 2017. Okay. So what is that, going on 8 years?
Okay. But you are native South Floridian, I understand.
Yeah, I grew up in Plantation, actually. Okay. Yeah. All Plantation Middle, Plantation High. I'm a Broward girl.
Broward. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
You're now considered a quasi-native Miamian.
Thank you. No, that's
after
really,
2 years here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, I've been living in Miami-Dade for quite some time. I was in D.C. for 9 years and then came back to South Florida in 2012, and I've been here ever since.
So I know that story because I think we were speaking before the program that you and I had a similar experience. We both went off to D.C. to study international relations. We were both going to be diplomats and then ended up on the Hill. So tell us about that experience.
Can you imagine if we had both ended up in the diplomatic corps?
That'd be hilarious. Well, we kind of are in that business to some extent.
You're
right?
absolutely right. There is so much diplomacy that comes with
this is Miami is like the United Nations. So
it's so true. It's one of the things I love the most about living here is that you never know where somebody is from, and there's always something to learn about somebody else's culture, and obviously the food. We're so fortunate. But yeah, I knew that I wanted to go to college outside of Florida. No disrespect to our amazing state schools, but I wanted a clean slate. I wanted like a completely different social experience. And when I got into George Washington University and they offered me a scholarship, it was a no-brainer. So I moved to DC. I lived in this incredibly urban environment. I was across the street from a transit station, right? If you're in DC, there's the Metro, and GW has its own stop on the Metro line, the blue and orange line, the Metro. And it was just really cool. I took the Metro everywhere. I took the Metro to my job. I took the Metro to my internship. We would take the Metro to Chinatown to go see movies. Just had a really great experience in DC, and I stayed there for 5 years after I graduated from GW.
And I understand on the Hill you worked for Representative Wasserman Schultz?
I did. Yeah, I worked for Representative Wasserman Schultz pretty soon after she was elected the first time. So Debbie was elected in November 2004. She had this long history of leadership in the Florida House and in the Florida Senate. And she won that election in 2004 pretty handily. And I was connected to her pretty quickly after her election. And so I was able to start interning for her before her congressional office was really set up. And that was an incredible experience. There was maybe one or two legislative assistants. She was very new to the Hill, and I got to witness the development of a fully functioning legislative office, which is probably different than how they operate today, but it was just a fascinating experience. And she was a mentor and continues to be a mentor to me.
Oh, she's great. And coincidentally, I was up in DC last week with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce to advocate for transportation dollars. And we met with her. And so let's say hi to Representative Wasserman Schultz. She's going through some things up there, obviously being in the minority, but she's still fighting a good fight.
She is in the minority now, and obviously she was, being the former chair of the Democratic National Committee, and she's very visible. She's on TV a lot, and she is doing that in an extraordinarily partisan capacity, right? But behind the scenes, anyone who has any experience on Capitol Hill knows that she has some of the best credentials for working across the aisle, particularly as it relates to Florida issues, right? The Everglades being a big one, infrastructure investment, healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid for Floridians. I mean, she works across the aisle like, no one I've ever seen.
And I think we can say that the South Florida delegation in particular does work very well together across party lines, always in the interest of South Florida, where we have aligned interests, right?
Absolutely.
And so thank you. Thank you for what you all are doing. But now we're going to go from DC back to South Florida. So what made you move back? In my case, it was 9/11. I think we discussed that, right?
Yeah.
We were worried that at any moment a dirty bomb was going to go off. It was freaking out my family.
Javier was working on the Hill at that time on 9/11.
We won't talk about that. This is all about you. But that's motivated me to come back. And I did start missing South Florida and Miami and the culture and the vibrancy here after 7 years away. So what was your story?
I think very similar. After 9 years in D.C., I had done all the weekend trips that there are to do, the Harper's Ferry and the popping up to New York to see my friends all the time. I had really squeezed a lot out of my 9 years there. And I was there was a lot of gray. People like to wear gray in DC. The weather was gray.
Everything is
the
white. The
buildings downtown are, I was like, there's a lot of gray here. Yeah. And I was coming back home to South Florida for my job. At that point, I was working for an advocacy organization. And I was coming back to South Florida a lot for my job. And I had this moment. We're on a transportation, podcast. So this is like probably not on brand. But I was sitting in traffic on I-95, sitting in rush hour traffic on I-95, absolute parking lot, not going anywhere. And it was like 5 o'clock rush hour. And if you're local, you know that the Power 96 traffic jam is amazing. And I was just having a party in my car. And to have been like that happy and feeling at home, like this is my place, this is where I'm meant to be, while you're stuck in a traffic jam, I was like, I'm ready to come home.
Yeah.
Like I miss it here. It's crazy. It's beautiful. I think I took it for granted growing up here.
Agreed. You have to go away to really appreciate it.
You have to go away. Totally. I mean, even if it's just for a year, and it really doesn't matter where you go. But having that time away really made me appreciate the amazing diversity and chaos and circus and beauty that is the Magic City.
Well, you nailed it. I think those are all the right words.
Thank you.
Now, in my case, that's what motivated me to become an urban planner. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back, but there are things, particularly transportation, about South Florida that I don't like. Having lived in D.C. and enjoyed that amazing metro system, I'm like, my gosh, why can't we have that back home? And that's what motivated me to get into public service locally here in Miami. I don't know if your story is the same. What led you? You're an attorney by trade. Mm-hmm. At what point did you decide that you wanted to enter public service, and particularly as an elected official?
Well, I mean, I've had the public service bug since I was a kid. I come from a very civically engaged, civically minded family. Mm-hmm. My dad served on the bench in the 17th Circuit. He was a judge from the time I was in kindergarten until I was a 2L at University of Miami School of Law. Go Canes. And so we'll do it. Yeah.
Get the U on.
Get the U. So my dad was a judge and my mom was an editor at the Miami Herald. Okay. So you can imagine the types of conversations that went on at our dinner table. It was like, well, how is the bond money for the school district being used, and what's happening at the city of Plantation, like city council, and they're expanding Hiatus Road, and people are objecting to that, but it was in the comprehensive plan, like the civic discussion. And so I started reading a newspaper at a very young age just so I could keep up and get, stay close to my parents. Please don't try to psychoanalyze me, folks. But I always cared. And I always had this sense of efficacy that when good people get involved in government works better for people. Right. And I was an active student leader, like president of the freshman class and president of the sophomore class. And then I was president of the student body. When I was in high school, they were really pushing for new charter schools. And there was a school board member who had like a pet project that was an Everglades restoration-oriented charter program that was being implemented at the rival school, South Plantation High School. And a lot of my friends who lived in my neighborhood, their parents were pulling them out of my school to put them into other schools, whether it was the charter or the private school. And I had opinions about that. And I spoke at student government meetings about it. And we invited the school board member to come talk to our student government board about the charter program and the redistricting that she was proposing. And I ended up in the newspaper about it. And I felt like, this is important stuff. It's going to affect my educational experience and the students who come after me if this redistricting goes through and people are paying attention to what student leaders have to say. This was very affirming. And that type of wanting to make a difference and be involved in those conversations to make things better and more fair and just overall more hopeful and resilient, it just carried me all the way through.
So fast forward, you become mayor of this great city or village, we'll call it, North Bay Village. Is it the village of North Bay Village? Is it one of those where
it's just North Bay Village? It's just North Bay Village, NBV.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because it's like City of Florida City.
You could say the heart of the Bay and just like stay on brand with the tagline.
So you're mayor of the heart of the Bay.
Yes.
Hashtag heart of the Bay. Mm-hmm. And there, obviously, as mayor, you have to deal with a host of issues. And there are some that maybe you're more passionate about than others. But let's start with transportation. Mobility matters after all.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have basically one way in and out. Mm-hmm. So you have this kind of unique traffic condition. Mm-hmm. There might be one or two other cities that only have one major roadway cutting through, but that's pretty unique. And I'm sure you're dealing with congestion all the time. But you're also running some transit services, right? Tell us about the on-demand service and tell us about this new service that you're running together with Miami Beach.
I'm so excited to talk about these things. So through our CITT dollars, we have had a freebie service. I think there are a lot of jurisdictions that have adopted the freebie because it's on demand. You download the app. If you need to get to wherever you need to get to you need to go to the bank, you need to go to the grocery store, you can call freebie. And we have a very high ridership with our freebie. In my view, the hours are a little bit more limited, so it doesn't necessarily make sense for my schedule, but our residents give us so much positive feedback about freebie. They are adapting their behavior. Now they know that they have to request their freebie probably a little bit farther in advance because the program is so popular. So we're currently, we're in an evaluation phase. Do we want to add another freebie? Do we want to extend the hours? Do we want to make it available more often on the weekends and later on into the weeknights? We'll see about how that's going, but it's been incredibly popular in North Bay Village to use the freebie app.
And they're great to work with, right? So I brought freebie to Coral Gables when I worked there, and I have to say they just have an amazing team. They're very responsive. They're very community oriented. So I'm sure you found the same. And I just to set expectations for those viewing, you could only do so much with the funds you get, right? So to the extent that people want more service, they have to understand that as a smaller city, you only get, a certain amount of half-penny funds, and you're maximizing those to the extent you can.
Yeah, we're trying to do a lot of different things with the funds. So, we have the ability to spend those dollars on traffic and pedestrian improvements as well. And North Bay Village still does not have a contiguously interconnected sidewalk infrastructure.
Really? Wow.
Really. And you talk about
for a place that's so walkable.
We're so
right?
walkable.
Yeah.
So walkable. The most glaring sidewalk disparities are on Harbor Island, which should be like the quintessential model of pedestrianism because it's all of these higher density multifamily buildings side by side. There's only one road onto Harbor Island, and then you split off. You're either on East Drive or West Drive. And we have a couple of restaurants there. We have some essential services there. Our new Village Hall, fire station, and police station will be on Harbor Island. And we have a great park, 2 great parks on Harbor Island. And you can't walk on a sidewalk contiguously through the island. And that's bad planning, obviously. You talk about being an urban planner. I'm fascinated with planners as a land use attorney in my other capacity.
I've never heard that before.
I love it. I think urban planning is, it's you get to
I like it. We're fascinated.
Constructing like civil society, right?
Yeah.
How people engage and interact and like do the things that they do day to day. Anyway, the sidewalk need is dire. And we have found that it is incredibly challenging for us to fix our sidewalk issues. It's something we've been working on for literally 4 years. Miami-Dade County has to approve all the things.
It seems so simple, and yet it's not.
We've gotten grants in addition to using our CITT dollars. We're using FDOT grants, and anyone who's ever accepted a grant from the Florida Department of Transportation knows that they can be a little bit bureaucratic to work with, and no shade to FDOT, but it's been challenging.
They have a process.
They have a process.
They have a structure.
They have a process.
And they follow to a T.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyhow, we are trying to do the sidewalk thing and the crosswalk thing. And then separate and apart from that, we are looking to expand the Miami Beach trolley to North Bay Village. And this is a relatively new initiative. The Miami Beach trolley has a North Beach loop. I have been really grateful for the partnership of Commissioner Tanya Bott, and then Vice Mayor David Suarez has also been incredibly helpful, but we do have the unanimous support of the Miami Beach Commission to pilot a trolley extension. And we're piloting the extension during Miami Beach's Culture Crawl, right? So this is the 3rd Thursday of the month. Miami Beach has this one night where you can get into the museums and there's activities at the bandshell, at the Normandy Fountain. And we started it last month was the first pilot where we added 4 stops in North Bay Village. So the Miami Beach trolley came over the bridge, stopped at 4 locations in our fair little village, and then took our residents back over the bridge and stopped at the Normandy Fountain and the North Beach Bandshell. And we ran the trolley from 6 to 10 one night, and we had 186 riders.
That's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really strong numbers, and we have all kinds of anecdotal evidence. People love it. You know, they went to the Bandshell, they went to Bob's, they went to the Normandy Fountain, they went to the Normandy Gourmandy. Some of them had tickets to La Poubelle. They went to La Poubelle. I mean, there's a lot to do in North Beach, and so we'll be cheerleaders for all of the economic activity going on there, and we're looking forward to having more economic activity in our village so that the trolley is more reciprocal. But as long as we continue to build that ridership in these pilot programs, we're going to do it again in June and again in July. I think there will be a significant use case to demonstrate an expansion of the trolley, and we'll be working with our colleagues in Miami Beach to do that.
Well, kudos to you. And kudos to Miami Beach for that partnership, because, you know, all too often I think cities just look kind of within their own jurisdictional boundaries and are sometimes wary of partnering with others and extending their own service, you know, across city boundaries. And yet we find that what people want, you know, is that connectivity, because they don't care about jurisdictional boundaries. They just want to get to where they need to go, whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's arts and cultural activities, right?
Yep.
And so I think that's a great partnership. I hope it continues and becomes something permanent.
Me
and
too.
a model for others to follow.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we're really excited about it. There's so many big ticket items going on in North Bay Village that are difficult, but creating this pilot program was not difficult at all. Yeah. My vice mayor, Goran Cook, was incredibly supportive. We had a unanimous support from our commission. Our staff worked really well with Miami Beach staff to do all of the logistical things like getting the A-frame signs to let people know where the stop was and creating the fly. I mean, it was really a light lift. And you know, and I don't really love many things more than a huge win for the constituents that's a relatively light lift for the staff. So,
well, speaking of things you love, but maybe a heavier lift, let's talk about sustainability, resiliency, environmental issues, whatever you want to call it. Being the heart of the Bay, obviously, you know, water surrounds you and is a key issue. No doubt, in everything you do. So tell us about what you personally or the village is doing in terms of resiliency, and particularly with respect to sea level rise and some of those issues.
Great question. Thank you for the question. North Bay Village is doing what it should be doing, and we're probably doing a little bit more. You know, you asked earlier, why did I get into public office specifically? And when I moved to North Bay Village, I was in this sort of land use practice, and I wanted to carve a niche about sea level rise. And when I moved to this island community, I looked around and I said, I wonder what they're doing, you know, to adapt to sea level rise and stronger storms. And I found out that the village really wasn't doing anything at all. So I got involved. So from 2017 to today, we have a fully built out public works department with engineers. We have a stormwater master plan that looks into the future. It looks into 2060 and 2070, and we're looking at a worst case scenario. The state recommends that you, when you're measuring sea level rise, that you use the NOAA intermediate high sea level rise curve to sort of project what future sea level rise is going to look like. North Bay Village's stormwater master plan uses the high sea level rise as opposed to the intermediate high, because we wanted to plan for a worst case scenario. And so we've got that stormwater master plan. We've done our vulnerability analysis, which will unlock Resilient Florida grant funding, which we've already been able to secure some Resilient Florida grants. And from that stormwater master plan, we then built the case for a $60 million stormwater and roads bond. And that bond was approved by over 2/3 of North Bay Village voters. We had lots of public information sessions, and I knocked on doors just to talk to people about our drainage needs and the state of our roads. And that was incredibly effective. So 67% of the voters said, yes, we will spend $60 million, on this infrastructure. And we're moving forward. We're in the market for a chief resilience officer now. So if anyone is a certified, licensed Florida engineer and wants to work for a very cool, exciting community that is handling sea level rise in a very innovative, progressive way. By that I mean more green infrastructure. Please reach out. So we're looking for that chief resilience officer. But we have this $60 million program that's going to essentially reconstruct all of our roads, raise them, and then give us brand new drainage infrastructure. So we're talking about bigger pipes underground, pump stations. We have some deep injection wells that are contemplated, but it's going to overhaul everything and keep our streets dry during the harshest conditions in the year 2060.
And I know this is probably a little more controversial, but I believe you're also looking to raise properties, right?
Well, I think that the market is going to do that for us, right? If you are building a new home in a coastal zone, you've got to meet that base flood elevation, and we also allow freeboard. And folks who are building new homes, they want their homes higher and drier. On my block alone, I have 6 lots under development. These are single family homes that are being, older homes that are being demolished. So the houses are going to be higher. And while that change and that shift is sometimes sad to see, because you knew the people who lived in the house and then they moved and now the house is demolished and somebody else is building something new and you don't know who's going to come in, it's good for us because we really want to have that flexibility when we're raising the roads. We have a little bit more room to breathe in terms of how we design that newly elevated road and the drainage infrastructure that supports that elevation. We have a little bit more room to breathe when the neighboring property is that much more protected.
So being an island community and being fascinated by water, which you seem to be, I also learned that you are a certified scuba diver.
Yeah.
So
Patty.
So something I've been wanting to do. So is there good scuba diving in the area, or do you kind of go off to the reefs, or what do you do?
It's so easy to hop on a plane and get to incredible diving, right? Belize, can't say enough about the diving in Belize. Grand Cayman, fabulous. I mean, the Bahamas, fabulous. And, I would just say do it.
So you're serious. So you're flying off to places. I assumed you were just doing it in our own backyard here. So
no, I'm taking trips.
Great.
I mean, that's the great thing about being a scuba diver. Now you have this whole new direction and purpose for the vacations that you go on. What I really want to do is a 2-week live aboard in Raja Ampat, Indonesia.
Wow.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Okay, so but let's bring it back locally for a second. What's your favorite local dive spot?
I don't have a particular reef, but going out in Isla Morada is, one of the easiest things to do. It's a great weekend trip, and I find that the dive captains down there are just so wonderful, and they're so happy to share their treasures with you. I love the Florida Keys, and if I could get down there every weekend and dive it until it's gone, I would. And that's sad because it's kind of like a ticking.
We're losing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, have you encountered the bleaching and all that on some of these?
Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like you're floating through a graveyard sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's not end on that.
No.
Point. So, okay, we've talked about resiliency, transportation, scuba diving, and any last thoughts?
Sidewalk connectivity. I would just say, you mentioned this earlier, we're in a unique position where we have this one main road that runs through our city and we don't own it, right?
FDOT, right?
FDOT owns it. And that means that we're kind of limited in terms of what we can do. So we're really, again, collaborating with Miami Beach to sort of leverage the political power of the 2 municipalities together to make sure that there are protected bike lanes on the Kennedy Causeway so that folks can, if they don't want to jump on the trolley or they don't want to get in their car, they can get on their bikes or get on their rollerblades and get over to the beach in a safe way. So getting those protected bike lanes is going to be absolutely critical for connectivity and mobility.
That's fantastic. I used to bike to work, and so protected bike lanes are definitely a wonderful thing to have. It's not it's particularly safe without them. So no, that's great to hear. And do you have some momentum under that?
We have a little bit of momentum, and I'm sure that when we fully turn our attention to it at the right moment, because FDOT is in the middle of kind of a PD&E study for some things, we will bring up that momentum.
That'd be great.
I know that the Miami Beach Dais is looking forward to also getting those protected bike lanes.
And Miami Beach has been a leader, I would say, in kind of creating a bike-friendly community. And of course, they have, I think is it the Atlantic Greenway along the ocean? Carla, do you know? Is it Atlantic?
Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing
the
facility.
boardwalk, the boardwalk is part of that greenway that literally goes all the way up to Maine, right?
Right, that's the one.
Yeah.
So if you could connect to that, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, great. Well, next time I have you on, you're going to provide an update on those efforts, and hopefully it will be built and people are riding and enjoying life.
I look forward to that.
And hopefully that wonderful new trolley service with the beach will become a permanent service.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll be higher and drier, and our coral reefs are going to come back to life.
So optimistic. I love it.
You have to be.
We have to put the vibes out there. We
right?
have to. Absolutely.
Madam Mayor, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
No, thank you so much for having me.
If they're interested in learning more about you or the city, where should they go? What's your website?
Sure. It's northbayvillagefl.gov. It might be .com. Don't quote me on that. But North Bay
Just
Village,
Google it.
Yeah, but you can also follow us on Instagram. It's North Bay Village on Instagram, and I'm on Instagram as well at NBV Rachel. And for residents, you can sign up for our newsletter. The link is there in my bio. And we're just doing everything that we can every day, doing the best that we can on a very lean staff, lean budget to make our community more livable, thriving, and more resilient.
Wonderful. Well, Madam Mayor, thank you, number one, for being a guest on my program. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you for everything you're doing and for leading the way on all these wonderful initiatives. Really appreciate it.
I can't thank you enough for the guidance that you have provided to us, how to most strategically spend our CITT dollars. We've had some really productive meetings, and you've been a huge help to our village in some other respects as well. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Okay. Folks, that's all the time. Well, thank you. Look, we're shaking, and we'll hug it out later. Folks, that's all the time we have here on Mobility Matters. You can catch us here, of course, every other Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30. We have some amazing guests coming up, so stay tuned for that. If you're interested in learning more about us, you could visit our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. You can learn all about our different programs, where our halfpenny funds go, what projects, programs, and services they're funding. You could also apply to be a CITT trust member and or a CITT ambassador. I won't get into what that is, but you could look it up and apply if you're interested. Thank you, and thanks again to Miami's community newspapers for hosting us and producing the program. Till next time.